gave them some airspace, and so they now can, dip their toes into free agency. But of course, that's not what you're asking about. What you're asking about is, are they going to trade for James Harden?
I'm asking about James Harden, friend. Yes.
These trades really don't help improve their asset base for Harden. It's not like the Rockets are like, oh, they have Danny Green. Oh, this is something we're interested in. Most people in the league believe that if they're going to get serious about James Harden, it's going to take putting Ben Simmons into the deal. Now, Daryl Morey has not made any indication at all that he is willing to do that, and he has been very clear as he's talked to the media about how valuable it is to have two young superstars in their prime. But if James Harden wants to go to Brooklyn, the way to trump any Brooklyn offer is to put in a player that Brooklyn can't match. And so that's what we're going to be paying attention to. It could be weeks, it could be months before something like this would happen.
Vince, would you do a deal if you were the Sixers, and would you do a deal that included Ben Simmons to get James Harden with Joel Embiid?
It's just a tough question. It's what are you looking for? What do you want out of your team? And I think for Houston, first of all, let me say they're doing it right. If you're going to let somebody like this go, who's a stars of stars, you better make sure you're going to get something close. Now, if I'm the Sixers, if you could get James Harden, for sure you're going to do it. And it's just who. I think James Harden and an Embiid would be something special. And then you just put shooters around them and just let these guys do what they do.
Yeah, I'm going to agree.
All right, guys.
I'm telling you, I would love to see James Harden on Philadelphia.
Well, we'll leave that question just for a minute because it is indeed time for a key player alert. I'm so glad when we get to hear the siren. Check this out from Serge Ibaka on Twitter. Posted a photo with the caption, "On my way to ...
That might be on his way back to Toronto to get his.
Come to Boston, baby. We need you in Boston.
He could be. Let's go to Amin Al-Hassan real quick to break down why Serge Ibaka is so valuable.
All right, guys. Once a VC, always a VC is back. The video coordinator and me couldn't stay away. Here's Serge Ibaka. He's going to be another big free agent on the market, especially for contending teams. Right here, you see his ability to set that down screen for Powell and then roll to the basket and finish strong. A lot of this is predicated because the defense has to respect Ibaka's ability to shoot from the outside, so it opens up a lot of things for him. Here we see Darius Bazley. He closes out a little too late, a little overcommit. Ibaka, one dribble, front of the rim, finishes. Again, this is because they're afraid of his jump shooting from the perimeter. And, over time in Toronto, he's been an effective post scorer, obviously off of pick and rolls, finishes. But here's the big thing you get, the defense, right there. His ability to rim protect, his ability to switch and guard other perimeter players. Serge Ibaka is going to be a big get for someone on the free agent market who's trying to make a move for a championship.
So that's an idea of exactly what is on that airplane right now. Brian, can you give us any insight into what Ibaka's options are? Because Woj reported just in the last hour that the Celtics were clearing up some room and making some trades. Enes Kanter on his way to Portland.
Yeah, so you got to keep an eye on the Celtics with Gordon Hayward, whether or not they would participate in a sign and trade, likely with Indiana, or if they would just re-sign Gordon Hayward. The thing with Serge Ibaka is he will get the most money likely if he stays put in Toronto. But if he wants to move around, if he wants another place maybe to play sort of the back end of his career, and he's willing to take less money, all of a sudden a whole bunch of other teams come into play. Specifically, the Brooklyn Nets, who Kevin Durant was a teammate of his with the Oklahoma City Thunder, of course, and he's been doing some recruiting there. And then the Los Angeles Lakers, he would be a terrific fit. In both of those cases, he'd be playing for a lot less money, but you could see why he'd be interested in listening to those offers.
Welcome back to The Jump. Now joining us, our NBA insider, Brian Windhorst. Brian, I know you are really, really disappointed not to be sitting next to me for that smoke machine today. I just want to warn you that if there is a deal that is announced or at least leaked before the deadline and you're on with us, you are going to hear this. And, I'm sorry about the noise. What can I tell you?
Key player alert.
You'll see our key player alert as well.
Player alert.
It's a little bit better than the year that I electrocuted Brian from the smoke machine. Just a little bit, but you know. There you go. I want to ask you guys about Anthony Davis because he can sign that long-term extension we've been talking about with the Lakers. All roads, of course, lead to him staying in LA. He does have some choices, and as you heard Woj say in our last block, he's not expected to commit in the immediate days. Brian, can you explain a little bit about what's going on here to our audience, what his options are, and is there any point they should start getting nervous?
Well, there's some speculation out there, Rachel, that one of the reasons why he's going to delay his decision is because the Lakers have some other free agency moves to make, and he just wants to let them know he's watching. Now, I don't think there's any stress out there. He will be a Laker, but one of the guys they have to make a decision on, and it's a tough decision about how much to pay him, is Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who is represented by the same agent, Rich Paul. Now, I think Caldwell-Pope is going to have some interest out there in the market. Whether or not he can get enough money out there to actually leave the Lakers is a different story. But this is somewhat reminiscent of when J.R. Smith was a free agent back in 2016 in Cleveland, represented by Rich Paul, and LeBron took his sweet time over that summer before signing. Now, having said that, LeBron did sign before J.R. Smith did. But while I think Anthony Davis has been well aware of his contract's options for months now, maybe it's just a little bit of a check game that he's playing.
Paul, if you were Anthony Davis, would you commit 2 years plus a player option, do the 1-and-1, where you're only committing for another year? We've seen that be a strain on teams, like when Kevin Durant kept doing the 1-and-1s and the 1-and-1s, it just brought all these questions about whether he was really going to stay. Or do you want to keep your flexibility if you're Anthony Davis?
I think it's important for the players these days to keep their flexibility. I would line my contract up directly with LeBron's because, as you can see, he can sign for 35% of the cap after that 10 years. And so, you know, LeBron, he could probably retire in 2-3 years. Who knows? You know, but I'll line my situation up with his. But what Anthony Davis got to understand is you're a Laker, you won a championship. Now, if you decide after 2 years you don't want to be a Laker or 3 years you don't want to be a Laker, it's like, to me, where do you go from there? And so I really would start thinking long term. I would think even for a 5 or 6 year deal. I mean, because after you may win another championship as a Laker. There's nowhere else you can go after being a Laker after winning 2 championships and being the face of the franchise long after LeBron has left. So, I mean, his options are open, and that's a good thing to have these type of options for Anthony Davis to make these type of decisions because he's one of those players whose game is injury-proof also. He's 7 feet, athletic. He can do so many things with the ball. He can shoot, soft touch, handle the ball. So sky's the limit for this kid. Whether he stays healthy or not, he's still going to get a great deal. So maybe 2 is the way to go.
I like what you're saying, Paul, and I agree. He really has some flexibility. I think lining his contract up with LeBron is a great thing to do. You know, win as much as possible. And then down the line, obviously you could do the 1-and-1s back at home. I know that was talked about. I think